welcome to an FFUK video special. It's the live draw for the FFUK Cup, which we've got coming up, plus a few other bits and bobs, including Milk Plate semi-final news and news of the FFUK FPL Cup, and a chat about chips and strategies and stuff as we go forward. And I've got some special guests with me. I've obviously got Bakes, as it's a cup special. So hi Bakes, how you doing?
Good, thanks, Chris. How are you?
Very well, thanks. And I've also got two other special guests who are going to kindly do our draw for us this evening and provide us with expert insight, if possible, please. So firstly, I've got Amit. How are you, Amit? Nice to see you.
I'm good. Cheers, Chris. Thank you. Yeah, good
Excellent.
to be on.
Yeah, no, it's good to have you with us. And we've got a welcome back, Harvey. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. And now I'm quite happy I'm part of the special too.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to get straight into the semi-final draw for the FFUK Cup. So obviously down to the last four, and that means it's a nice simple draw. You were chatting, guys, before about how you're going to do it. Just so, Bakes, what's the format here? How are we doing it?
So we've got four names. We've got Kevin Ryan, Simon Pascoe, Stephen Johnston, and Brendan Ryan into the semi-finals. So I believe both Amit and Harvey have those four names. So Amit is going to draw the first name at random from those four.
Out of the boot. Out of the boot. Here it comes.
Beautiful.
Love it.
Harvey will then remove that name from his list, so he will be left with three names. And I believe Harvey is going to use a dice to determine who that first person is going to play. Okay. Amit, have you already drawn?
First person is, like Champions League, the big ball comes out the ball.
Here it is.
Simon Pascoe.
Simon Pascoe.
Simon Pascoe's at home.
Here we go.
Simon Pascoe's got the crucial home tie. Yeah.
Simon Pascoe is going to be at home to Brendan Ryan.
Brendan Ryan.
I'll go with Brendan.
Excellent.
The next team at home will be Stephen Johnson.
Stephen Johnston, who will therefore play Kevin Ryan. I wonder, is there a family connection there? I wonder.
I think there is. Yeah.
Are we looking for a Ryan final?
Well, that could be. It could be there. There we go. So I'm going to put that at the bottom.
Ryan final. Yeah.
That's possible. Yeah. I'll check with Justin McCarthy because I think that's his contacts who are in there. So yeah, good luck to all four of those. So that's going to be over the month of April that those ties take place. Is that right, Bakes? Oh, his internet's playing up. He's having issues. So that's really good news. So we've got that one, and then let's do
April game month. So starting this weekend.
Great, and then let's move on now to the Milk Plate. And we've got the draw for that. And actually, Bakes, you don't even need to put your screen up because I've got this down the bottom there because this one is obviously auto drawed. Brian Mallinson versus Jamie Cooper and Andrew Fogarty versus Neil Goodwin. So unfortunately, none of us involved in any of these ties, which does sort of, doesn't make it quite as fun. But good luck to everyone involved.
Yeah, good luck, guys.
And it's one of those, they're all worth playing for, these cups, because the prizes, as we said on the last one, are really good. So good luck to everyone there. In fact, if they're in the semis, I think they get a prize anyway in the FFUK Cup already. And then there is a third cup that is coming up, which I don't know if you guys have seen it, the FPL new cup that's now in the league. So everyone's got a tie in there. So I don't know if you guys have found your... I found your tie you're playing against. I'm playing against a guy called John Wilson in mine. Do any of you know who you're playing? Or could you have a look?
I looked at it the other day. Ian Galloway.
Really? Excellent. Yeah. There you go, my dad. That is.
All right.
So,
Mr. Galloway, you're going out next round.
Yeah.
In the round of 256.
He keeps up with it all. He keeps up with all the news. Just makes every now and again I'd speak to him and he says, "I've just done this," and I go, "What?" And he's done something crazy. So
I think I've got Chris Lovegrove.
Chris Lovegrove. Okay, excellent. Don't know him personally, but and Bakes, who have you got?
Ross Smith. Yes. Oh, do you know him, Harv?
That's my cousin. As a matter of fact, if it wasn't for Ross, I wouldn't be in this group.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
So thanks to Ross, Harvey's here. So those are going to be every week, I think, those ties. So it's going to be quite insane. If you get through, You'll just have to check the app or whatever, and you'll see who you're playing next. There's no way to like see the overall like draw of it. I don't think. Bakes, is that right? Or...
It's a random draw each week, so it's not
Okay.
like the milk plate. It's done like the FFUK Cup. So each week there'll be a random draw of anyone left in.
Okay, cool. Well, that is all the cup stuff, and then it's now it's the fun bit really, because now we just get to chat a bit about fantasy, and generally that's what we think about quite a lot more than we should be doing most days anyway. So this should be nice and simple for everyone. So I was going to sort of start off by asking everyone how many chips they've got left really, and sort of initial thoughts on their kind of strategy for the rest of the season. So let's start with the meat. What are you thinking with your...
Well, I've just used my last free hit was just used because I was down to 4 players with Trent. Was it Trent last week or someone was out last week? So I had to play it. I kind of agreed with the voices that were saying that it's not the best week to play. There's not many teams, but 56 points, but loads of people without using it scored higher than me. It is what it is kind of thing. But so I've just used my free hit. I've got a bench boost and a wildcard left still. So it's when to tactically use those around each other is going to be the big question.
And have you got a sort of idea at the moment when what were you thinking? Or
yeah, I'm going to try and hang on to the wildcard as long as humanly possible. I was eyeing it up to wildcard potentially in 32 with a view of then bench boosting for 33. Yeah. But looking at the 36 fixtures, better teams, more doubles. So wildcard 35 with a view of 36. But by then, you could be playing serious catch up with the people around you.
That's the scary thing, isn't it?
I've left it towards the end of the season to use these chips and, not been overly panicked when people have been bench boosting and benefiting from them. But eventually you get to the point where those people are well ahead of you now. It's a bit like the games in hand. It's all well and good having games in hand. You still got to win them. So it's all well and good having these chips. But they've got to return. If they don't return, then you won't catch those above you up. So I think that is a tactic. Whatever it is going to be a wild card, then bench boost straight away to try and maximize it. But it all sounds good in theory.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it could be strong, that version. I think that could be strong because normally you're worried that everyone's resting players, and if you wildcard late, I did that last year, and you've got a really strong bench and you don't need it. Whereas this year, with all the rotation, with everything going on, with almost double game weeks every week, having a strong bench isn't a bad thing going into the end.
So I think it's more needed now than it ever was.
Yeah, let's turn out to be well. I'm a big squad player. I love the whole play all 15.
Definitely.
It's definitely changed. I think that's the new thing this season. Maybe I'm old school, but you had your 15th player was basically redundant to me, and the 14th player was almost redundant to me. So I was really, and the second goalkeeper was redundant to me. So I would guess I was playing with a slightly smaller squad, but no doubt about it this season, obviously with COVID and other stuff, and just the concertinaing of games, because there is less time, more games to fit in. But so talking of fixtures, I think it's helpful if we can look at something. So I've got this, which is from Lego Money, who's a guy on Twitter who's quite big in the fantasy community, and he's another Ben Krellin really. But I was just saying to the guys before, I think this is possibly nice, slightly easier to read, and this is just his guess on what's going to happen, because obviously 36 and 37 the doubles haven't been announced, but what you can kind of listening to a few of these podcasts, what you can sort of work out now is that there aren't many gaps for them to put these games in. So that means that they can kind of guess when there's going to be doubles, but the actual games may change around slightly. So this is pretty accurate, but it's not 100%. Harvey, what about you then? So how many chips have you got left?
3. So I've got bench boost, 2 free hits, and the plan. My overall plan, I want to get into the top 100k, and I'm 170,000 or something. And I've been saving it up. So the idea is to bench boost week 36, which is always usually the bench boost week. But free hit 33, and probably 37. But I may swap some of this. I may swap some of that around. Basically, I'm going to free hit when City have a double because I have no City players, and I'm happy with that. Because the one I pick won't play. Yeah, if I pick a City player, don't get him.
Do you think there is actually? I know we joke about Pep Roulette, and you're right about what you say, but I do think he's a bit more predictable this season, perhaps than maybe last season, especially with the sort of back end of the team. You can kind of predict it for most games.
I think he's been predictable mostly due to the fact that he's had some key injuries and certain players hitting, or certain players not being in for. I think he played Grealish an awful lot on the left when Sterling lost a bit of form and because he just spent 100 million on him, and that seems to be like a spot that Grealish had for the first 15 weeks, and then he played Sterling for sort of 10 weeks, I think, and he seems to give people a bit more of a run now. And the defense, I think the defense basically picks itself because they're the ones that were fit.
Well, he's in a title race now, whether he likes it or not.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like Liverpool, they have to play their strongest team, don't they?
Well, I mean, if you think that the next Champions League is going to make a big difference because they're two big games followed up by what will be a semi-final, which will be a big game, and the league may well suffer for that. And that, obviously it's why these teams have big squads and good squads. And I think it's going to really come into the fore, but it will mess fantasy up completely. I can see Salah being rested. I can see De Bruyne being rested. Cancelo getting rested because better to play him in the Champions League.
I think it's less likely though. I think he could play. He's shown that he can play him 3 times a week.
I don't think he's got. He hasn't got a suitable replacement for Cancelo.
Yeah, I think. The problem. Yeah, the problem is that there's no one to come in, which is strange in Man City. But
he did miss out 1 week, didn't he? I'm sure he was rested a few weeks ago, which was a surprise because they got Walker and Zinchenko, so they kind of could. I mean, I don't think.
Yeah, and Laporte can play left, but it's unlikely, especially if it's, as you say, now it's this title race, and these are must-win games now for City and Liverpool.
Yeah. So, what about you, Chris? What's your strat?
Well, my situation is slightly unusual in that I've got 2 free hits, both free hits left. I've also got my wild card and my bench boost, which is a bit sensible, really. And I sort of held back. I saw everyone was unloading chips in this previous 4-week period, and I did play my triple captain on Salah, and it went really well. And I thought, I'm just going to hold it now and wait till the end of the season because there is all this craziness, as Lego Mane's chart shows, to come. What it's done is completely confused me because now I don't know really what to do because I've got all these chips and. So let's say 33 is a double, 36 is a double, 37 is a double, and it looks like 35 and 34 might be little doubles as well. So I could conceivably free hit 33, wildcard 34, free hit 35. No, I can't do that. Then I'd have to do nothing in 35, then bench boost in 36 and then free hit in 37. So that's
38
or 38. Yeah, although I can see what going for a really nice free hit team on 38 and coming out with 27 points.
I've done
I don't know why. I've got that in my head that that's possible. You get all the players who've got the good fixtures and they've got nothing to play for. And we always see crazy, weird results at the end of the season. So my fear is that the alternative to what I've just said is I attack it now and I go wildcard tonight or tomorrow and I get ready for game week 31 and 32, and then 33 is a free hit anyway. 34 I'd be prepared for. 35 and then 36 I've got loads of time to get ready there for a bench boost and another free hit. So I don't know, they both work, both those, but I'm probably going to go the waiting method. What I always planned to do was to hold on to people and to be within the top 50 or top 40 or whatever with loads of chips left. That was the plan. what's happened is I've slowly just slipped to about 65th or something. I can't even remember. And it feels maybe slightly less achievable now, but you just need one good week in this league. It's so tight. We were talking before, it's so tight between the top 10 is quite, is upper echelons, but between 20 and 70, 80, there's not much at all.
No, not at all. It's just getting that one Coutinho, that one Maddison, that one pick right, where you've just had not been overly tried to be too clever or whatever, just got a sensible player in. Those people that had Coutinho, which is such a sensible solution that week, he had double game week, and he had
in hindsight was
but
he hadn't played.
It wasn't sensible.
But it was more sensible than Jacob Ramsey, I'll tell you that. And
Same here, Ravi. Oh, I had exactly the same. Horrendous.
It was, but that week was a review I wrote up, and it felt like everyone was flipping a coin. All the conversations going into that week were: do you go James or Rudiger? Do you go for Coutinho or Ramsey? And all the way through, it was flipping of a coin. And as you said, that you might feel you're far behind. You get a couple of those right, and then and also you get. I think Harvey might mention is that having 15 players that can play, that's the biggest poison chalice at the same time, because your third sub, and I've had it so often this season, is scoring big because you've got a squad that plays, and the randomness of this season and the points feel so well spread across squads as well. There's going to be some heavy points you've missed out on bench wise. And that's the one that hurts the most. And almost what you said there earlier, Chris, was if you've got 2 players that aren't playing on your bench, it's not going to hurt you. But if you're playing the squad game, you've got to get that rotation right, because you're almost shooting yourself in the foot, let alone anyone else. And that's the one that I think hurt a lot this season, when you tried to be clever and rest players, or not rest players because we don't have to rest them, but rotate them anyway.
Yeah,
I think you nailed it there. That if there was a week that summed up this season, it was that week where you've got you're 4 days into the game week, and you think, I've put James in my team, I've put Salah, I've put all these people, it's gone brilliantly, and they've got all these points. And literally a day later, you're like, so all of those people aren't playing the next fixture. That's the whole reason I put them in the squad. And all of a sudden, all those points I had are now being caught up by everybody that went to my. And the whole season was just mad. It's just been crazy.
But that's going to be the same. 36 and 37. These games are going to be. Some of these games are going to have 2 days, 48 hours between them. They're going to be so tight, and therefore there's going to be that crazy rotation. I mean, Chelsea, Liverpool, City, even the biggest teams will rotate in those if they're playing every 2 days, because it's actually dangerous for the players to play at that level, isn't it? And not have a recovery day. So
fantasy's changed too, hasn't it? I mean, so as is well reported, I don't really do hits, and that's generally been something that's helped me through the seasons. This year, I am suffering because I haven't taken hits.
You haven't been able to attack the different situations.
Yeah, and everyone's using hits to attack double game weeks, and I've been slow to respond to that kind of thing.
Well, the good news on that, Harvey, is there is a great double game week this week to attack with a few hits. You can get so many Burnley and Everton players in. No one else will be doing it as well.
And it's live on TV, guys. It's live on Sky Sports. I don't know if you saw the breaking news earlier.
Oh, yeah. Brilliant. Great news.
Was so good when I saw that. Sky Sports put it up as breaking news. I was like, brilliant. I'm definitely
Was it really? Oh, my God. Slow news day.
Well, it has been. It has been. Every day's been a slow news day. International football, as good as it is, doesn't create the column inches that the Premier League does. Just insane. Just like and fantasy, I suppose. Really, what I'm talking about is the content we consume is fantasy related. But okay, Bakes, we haven't asked you about your situation. How are you looking at the moment with your chips?
Right, so I've got 1 free hit and a bench boost left. So I don't know what to do about the bench boost. I think the free hit's a choice of 33 or 36. Again, what the guys were saying earlier, I think the fixtures are going to look better in 36. So I think that's probably the one I'm going to attack, because City are going to have a double game week. Chelsea will have a double game week. Liverpool will have a double game week. Arsenal will have a double game week. So I think just loading up on what are the right kind of picks from those teams in that week is probably the plan at the moment. And then with the bench boost, I think what I'm just going to... I'm probably going to do is just each week just have a look at my bench, and if I think it looks all right, just roll the dice and see what happens. Because I mean, it's I haven't got a wild card to line it up with left, so it can be so random. So I think I'll just roll the dice on it when it looks half decent, probably.
How much future planning do you guys do?
I did a load of planning over the last sort of 4 or 5 weeks to try and get a good strategy in place, and as it worked out, it didn't really get me very far, to be honest. But I haven't got enough chips left now to do a whole load of mega planning. It's just going to be transfers here and there, and then I think the free hit in 36 is probably the way to go.
I think it's that old, for me, this season is like that old war strategy idiom that you hear, you know, that planning's fantastic until the first shot's fired. And literally this year, I'm planning 6-7 weeks ahead. And then Everton play Burnley and it's 6-6, and I start thinking I want an Everton player.
Live on Sky Sports, yeah.
Or even worse than that, it's even before a ball was kicked. It's usually me winding Tom Newman up by finding out some random news where he's just put a player in, and Rafinha in or out, you know, that straight away. And a lot of people would have had Rafinha, who was then out. Leeds scored 3 goals, and Rafinha doesn't return at all because obviously he's not there. And all these, and then Ramsdale was out, but he turned up to the
him and his owners. Shocking.
Yeah, and you know, Ramsdale turning up to the frigging ground as well.
Yeah,
just to warn people up.
I think that all the people who watch Twitter have got less hair than me because I don't look at Twitter, so I just don't get stressed.
And it doesn't bother me. Definitely,
I'm not worried if everyone's saying he might not start. I'll look at 3 o'clock and see if he starts.
Before you've made your transfers, you are. That's the thing. If you, it's just I think we've got better. We've got better at dissecting the information now. There's so much rubbish out there, but even our little WhatsApp group, you know, we say little, but you can tell when it's a rumor and when it's something more substantial, and you also get to know over time the people to trust. So, and these people who spend, you know, now there are people whose life's work is fantasy football, and that is insane. But it's also great for us because we get charts like this and we can just stare at them for hours, going, I don't really know what to do, but it looks pretty. Because that's kind of, as you say, this season has been one of the probably the craziest in terms of cancellations, postponements, just unexpected stuff happening, and I suppose it makes for an exciting season.
One question from me.
Yeah.
What are we planning to do with Trent?
What do we think is going to happen? What do you think the
situation is?
Well, all accounts he's out versus Watford. He's not playing.
There's no point risking.
And he's also not playing. I think the first leg against Benfica. That's what's been said. But and then hoping to be back for City. That's what I read. Harvey, you're obviously on the pulse of Liverpool stuff.
I have similar info, and most of it is guessing. I think I have a suspicion that if we were playing Man City this week, he would be fit, or fit enough for that game, and then rested against Benfica. I would.
Just look at that run of games where you've got City.
The fantasy problem, though, is he's. I mean, for me, you lose £500,000 instantly if you take him out. Like, I've had him in since week 1. He's gone up so much that I sell him for 8 and I get him back for 8.5.
Yeah, but you can straight go down to Robbo, pocket the money, and Robbo's been great.
He has, but there's no guarantee that Robbo plays all of the games as well.
But Harvey, how many chips? You got 2 wild cards. No, sorry, you got 2 free hits and what
3
else?
hits, bench boost.
Okay, so you pretty much for 2 out of the 1, 2, 3, was it 8 weeks left? You're going to be able to do what you want anyway, whether it's Trent or not Trent. I know you're going to lose the money, but we're at that point of the season now that holding equity on someone doesn't matter. You need someone who's going to play. So if you put Robertson in and he plays against Watford, I'm saying it's a Trent idea, and I don't think I'm going to sell him because I'm going to see what happens. I'm very tempted to go from Trent to Robertson, but at the same time, I've got enough in the team and the squad to just hold him to see what happens again in that City game. But but
if I did that, it would mean that I could probably get Kane, because Kane, 2 people have hurt me this year, and I won't be sending them Valentine's cards again. And that's Bruno Fernandes, when he decided to turn up only for a double game week, and then he went back to his normal self again. And that time, I think when you have that sort of thing, and Kane is the other one, and now I feel that Kane I really should have. So
he's on fire. He's back to his best. Absolutely.
Kane's got golden boot in his eyes. That's what he aims for. He knows it as a team.
Can he actually get it this season? How far is he behind?
I don't think he's that far off. And if he's claiming goals that came off his shoulder and stuff again, he'll get the goal. He'll claim them on his daughter's life.
He is that far.
Is he far? I always felt it was closing.
I think he's about 10 goals behind, isn't he?
I don't think he's got 10 Premier League goals this year.
About that, I thought.
I'm going to look.
But no, I mean, the Trent conundrum is an interesting one. Bakes, what's your thoughts on it?
I don't know. I'm in 2 minds.
So he's far behind, but I thought he's near it. Salah's on an amazing 20. Kane's on 12. Son's on 13 goals. Did anyone aware of that?
Yeah, he had a good run, didn't he, when Kane was crap first half of the season.
First 2/3.
I think the Trent one is really interesting because these are the sort
I'm
of
tempted by the Robbo. I'm definitely tempted by the Robbo
switch. You can go to Robbo or Cancelo, because I sold Cancelo a couple of weeks ago.
I've still got Cancelo.
Some scheme to get some double game week Burnley players in or something. I can't remember, but it probably hasn't been a very good idea. But I'd like to get Cancelo back as soon as possible. Yeah. And I could just do Trent to Cancelo. Okay, you're right, Harvey. You're losing money, but at this stage of the season, does it matter? Is it not more about optimizing for the last few weeks?
It's a big, and actually, it's one of my mantras: is you should chase points, not cash.
And when I wildcard, I'll get Trent back for sure. But by that point,
I want him for the game week 33. I want.
I've got a free hit then, so I could get him for that week.
Yeah, I want him. I want him for the game week 33. I think that's a good time to have someone like Trent. Weirdly, because Liverpool got City and United, and I think in there, certainly against United, I love having Arnold against United because people think it's a hard game, and it isn't if you're an attacking player.
Both at home, I suppose.
Yeah, it's not great if you're a defensive player, but it's good if you're an attacking player, and I think Trent is an attacking player, so I think he becomes a bit of a differential there.
But I think everyone on a free hit or everyone on a double without looking at the fixtures is going to have Trent in their team if it's a double, which you would on a free hit. So if my situation is he's not going to play Watford, so if I sell him, if I keep him, I'm playing him against City. And then a free hit is irrelevant, and then I'm wild carding anyway in 33 and 34. So that's why I think it's more viable for me. Because I know I can get him back in 34. And yes, it's $500,000, but by that
time, he'll have gone down in value by then, so it might not even be that much.
Down in value. I might have 25 points for that $500,000. I take it.
What other surgery do you need to do in your team, though? As in, it depends if you can afford to. I tell you what, I don't want to take a hit this week. I think points are precious now, given I've not had a good couple of weeks. So for me, someone like James Ward-Prowse, who's got Leeds away, doesn't feel optimal. I think there's a few other players that I could be doing a better job with 7 mil in the bank. So I could just bench.
And then you play him against City, I guess. Yeah.
Yes, then play him and hold him. Yeah. Is he then? Is he worth the -4? I don't think so. To rotate to put Robertson in. It depends on the surgery you need to do.
Yeah, I think if he was playing this weekend, I think it's you just keep him. You suck the City game up and it's fine, but because he's out, it's just is it that opportunity? And do you look back? When I think we were talking pre-week before we came on air. Those opportunities, when you look back in hindsight, they seem so obvious. Is this one of those? Is this a 4-week stretch where you can get rid of him, low risk because you're still keeping him in the free hit and you get him back on 34? You're only actually losing him in a game against City where he might not be fully fit anyway. So that's why it feels like there's an argument there, but it is high risk.
Well, I think we'll know. I think I think you'll get some information because I don't think he plays against Watford, but I think there's quite a good chance he plays every game after that. So if he turns up against Benfica, he is definitely playing against City, and then and then he's definitely playing against City and United, and then he's
City is not the best fixture, is it? City away is the worst fixture of the season. So
you've got Robertson.
You've got Robertson anyway. You've got Robertson.
Yeah. Well, I'm tempted to go Cancelo, as I say. That would be my move. I think Trent to Cancelo at the moment.
Are any of you thinking of, in all honesty, are any of you thinking of or owning any Burnley or Everton players still?
I've still got frigging Weghorst.
That's I've got him. Yeah, he's great for this week.
Still got. Has he returned once? Has he returned an assist and a goal? He's got one goal.
He returned twice before I got him.
And we all went crazy with him. People were captaining him, and people were.
Look, I saw a great tweet this week, and it said, "Listen, I'm happy with my Weghorst. He's going to play 5 games in the next 3 weeks. That's 5 times 2. That's 10 points." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's so true."
That's one way. Look at that. Guaranteed points.
No, it's not
guaranteed 10 points.
Well, unless he goes to Jimenez
or injured. Yeah,
I just think it's. See, I think they're the warning. I think that
they're the risky ones, aren't they?
They sound like they're good ideas. You take a -4 and you get one of them in for this week, right? Whoever they are, insert name, And then in 2 weeks' time, you're looking at your team and you're going, I've still got that person in my team. And now it's a -4 to get them out, which means it's cost me 8 points to get the person in and they haven't returned 8 points.
I think we could make a supervillain list this season. The absolute time wasters. I think end of season awards, we might have to do something like that where we go, who are you going to go for? Weghorst would be up there. A bit harsh on him. He only joined in Jan, the poor guy. And you got Dennis. For me, it's Jimenez. Every time I go to own them, I own them on a frigging free hit. I swore I'd never go back to Jimenez. And he got sent off in the first half of the game. Unbelievable. There's so many that we keep going back to. And I think me and Dipesh is in the chat and everything have always, we always after the event, obviously you never said, but we just keep saying the same thing. Why do we keep going back to these players who are bottom of the league for a reason? They are right down there for an absolute reason. We're expecting sudden returns of this guy who will get once every 5 weeks. And if you get it, well done to you.
But my vote is Dennis.
Dennis was awesome though for a bit. Dennis was good for a bit for me. I don't know whether
this is one for the award ceremony towards the end of the year. We'll
definitely, that's a good idea.
These people are the hot crazy girlfriend, aren't they? They're the one you keep going back to, and then you realise why you left.
And you start getting calls, non-stop calls. And what did you do that for? Well, moving on. Anyway, before we get into our damaged love lives, this becomes a whole different call in itself.
Yeah, that's the late night version.
Only going to increase the viewers.
Wouldn't hurt. No, I think absolutely. And it's
no plans to get an Everton or a Burnley in.
Well,
Gordon's the only person.
Gordon's the one I'm looking at because I could do Ramsey to Gordon as a nice, simple, easy, sensible move. Play Gordon as my first sub, and then for Trent, who's going to miss out.
Yeah. Before you do that, have a look at Gordon's expected goal involvement. That's all I'll say.
Okay. I just would like. He is 4.5 mid. 4.5 mid.
It doesn't matter. Well, if you're not going to play him, don't do the transfer.
Well, I'm not going to play him apart from in a double when he plays West Ham and Burnley, and they're desperate. But it's a really tricky one. It's a really hard double to pick players for. It's probably the hardest double I've ever. Well, maybe not quite, but there was a Brighton one earlier.
Burnley's not a double. Burnley's not a double. They're playing Man City. What's the average that Man City score against?
5-0, isn't it? 5-0.
Is it 4 or 5? Yeah. So
they've got 150 minutes.
They're going to get minus points.
It's 150 minutes per expected goal against for Man City.
There you go.
150 minutes.
Okay.
Ridiculous.
Who's that? City.
City.
Yeah. So you're getting Yeah, that's just you're
It's
not
less than
they're
a
not
goal
scoring,
again.
are they?
That means they're not
Yeah.
even conceding in penalties.
I think
So I
that's
should do
that's
Trent and
excluding
Cancelo.
penalties.
Trent and Cancelo is the move then. If that's the case.
Yeah,
And,
but you don't-
Captain Cancelo.
You don't
Yeah.
get penalties against City, so it doesn't really count as a point.
No,
so...
I mean, if you were playing them, it's 150 minutes. You get 90 minutes plus 30 more for extra time. You've gone all the way through penalties and you still haven't scored.
Still scored, even with 5 penalties.
Yeah. That's how good they are.
Well, absolutely. Well, on that note, I think that's quite a nice moment to round it off because no, that's been a really good chat, and actually, I think maybe helped me a little bit, and hopefully help you guys to sort of maybe understand a little bit more what you're going to be doing in the next few weeks, and hopefully helped anyone who's been watching as well. So, thank you very much, everyone who's been watching, and thank you to my guests, Amit, Harvey, and Bakes. Thank you very much for joining us.
Cheers, guys.
These guys.
And we'll obviously be back for the probably the final video of the season, or maybe the penultimate, and that'll be the final. Do we have to do a draw? No, we don't have to do a draw for the final.
You don't have to do a draw for the final, Chris. I think that's
oh my god, this is so exciting. Well, we might do a video just to celebrate that anyway. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching, and good luck to everyone involved in the cups. And
Good luck.
see you later.
Thank
you.
Cheers.
Bye.